It's a tough one, and I agree with Mike. We've got one player of Naasery who was 0-2 in Swiss and then brought it back to 3-2. Momentum well and truly with him. But on the other side, Feldman, I mean, he must be feeling great. He beat Nicholas 6-1 yesterday in Swiss format. And when you know that you can take on the best player in the world on the PlayStation side, you've got to have confidence. So, I mean, me personally, I love the way Web Naasery plays. I've been a fan of him since Paris Games Week, the first LQE. I know what he's capable of, but it's whether he can actually demonstrate that here in this semi-final.
And the thing is, with Feldman having that win under his belt against Nicholas, Nicholas is still in the tournament. He's in the other semi-final we have going on, taking on Lev as well. So he knows if he gets through to the final here and Nicholas finds his way to the final, then he has the beating of him potentially. And this man that's on your screen right now, it would be a real Cinderella story to take away that title.
And it's another one of these stories and these possibilities of one of these players who were outside of reach of playoffs, having the chance now of being at those playoffs by securing a decent amount of Global Series ranking points. He's already got 315 secured by getting this far. He would get 450 if he were to win that game. That would put him up to around 770 points. And we think that should be enough to get to playoffs. I mean, of course, there are mathematics that people are trying to judge, etc., but we could be seeing both of these players at playoffs. I mean, Naasery is up in 28th already in the rankings. He's probably already secured his place just by the placements he's already had throughout the season.
It has been pretty consistent as far as qualifying for events goes this year. Just hasn't really had that big standout performance from him. When we say standout performance, we mean deep into the tournament, getting to Championship Sunday, finding your way into a quarterfinal, a semi-final, like he has now, and he has the opportunity here to get into the grand final on the PlayStation 4. We're just moments away from getting into this one, of course. What are your feelings on this matchup as far as the two players are concerned from the results that you've seen so far in the tournament?
I think that Web Naasery is certainly going to be under a little bit of pressure in this game. I think Feldman's going to come right at him. He's going to be feeling confident with the amount of goals that he's scored. The defensive record of Feldman has been better throughout this tournament. He's only conceded 17 goals thus far, whereas Naasery has conceded 23. So you'd have to feel that Feldman should have the confidence, and he will be the one who's playing the attacker. But the thing is, the way that Naasery likes to play a possession game of football and the way he likes to play a pass and move, if he does get his fair share of possession, that's when he'll explode and come to life.
And one thing that we should highlight, how well these two players have done here on the PlayStation 4, as well as far as the context of the entire tournament is concerned. This was one of the most stacked brackets we've had on the PlayStation 4, period, throughout the year as far as the tournaments are concerned. So to make it to the Final Four is an achievement in itself. But they both want to get to the grand final, and they are now just one full game away. Two legs, of course, in a game here in our semi-finals. Is it going to be Feldman, or is it going to be Naasery?
And you can look at who they beat to actually get here as well. Naasery taking down Mo Alba in the quarterfinals. That is no easy feat. Feldman taking down Filza as well. These are big names we're used to seeing.
Well, Web Naasery is on the attack early on there. Ronaldo was trying to use that 45 degrees fake shot to get round the corner. Unfortunately, the ball just rebounds off of CR7 and out for a goal kick here. Edwin van der Sar in goal. And we have seen some, even now at this stage of the game, different selections in goalkeepers for players making it into the final eight.
Yeah, and I think that Van der Sar is a strange one. A lot of people like him because, of course, he's an icon and it means chemistry is going to be easy with centre-backs, but I believe his centre-backs pairing is Maldini and Ferdinand, so it doesn't really matter which goalkeeper you use in that position. So it comes down to preference. We see players liking and favouring goalkeepers who get down to ground quickly to stop those low-driven shots, and maybe that's what he thinks Van der Sar can do.
Well, here's Naasery then on the attack. Hullet now out wide. A little bit of space here for Mbappe. Finds the ball back into Hullet. The quick turn onto the right foot, and what a finish that is! Cristiano Ronaldo introduces himself to our semi-final here, and it's Web Naasery who takes the lead.
Well, I said it was going to be Feldman who was going to be going from the get-go, getting in the face of Naasery, but instead it was Naasery who had control of the early possession. And you could see how he wanted to work that ball towards Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's rewarded with his play as well. It's just a simple turn in the end, and the goalkeeper nowhere to be seen. All the talk about Van der Sar and getting down to the floor, well, he had to get to his left there. Couldn't get it.
He was getting nowhere near that one. The perfectly timed shot there from Web Naasery, showing that he's fully warmed up and ready for this semi-final. And it is Cristiano Ronaldo who breaks the deadlock here. So then, one goal the difference between the two players, and scoring in the first 10 minutes. Do you think that affects players sometimes, the way they sort of play the rest of the game, or is it just a case of an early goal doesn't really affect too much?
I think some players will come in with a gameplay style of, well, I'm going to hold the ball, I'm going to play possession, I'm going to try and get a 1-0 lead, and then I will go from there. I do feel like conceding an early goal can sometimes change that play style. You might have to get a little bit more aggressive than you would used to, but most of these players, they're used to dealing with it. They know what it's like coming from behind nowadays. With FIFA 19 and how you have to just react to the situation so quickly.
Well, here is Feldman. He's looking to react straight away. Little snapshot there from prime icon moments. 97 rated, Ronaldo. First time we've seen him in tournament play. And he has been very impactful for a lot of the players. We know how much the 96 prime icon has been favoured by players. And why wouldn't you with a 5-star combo, 5-star weak foot, 5-star skills? If you've got that kind of player, that calibre, a little upgrade is going to go straight into your team. But here is that man trying to get the fake shot past the defender. Well defended there by Alexandra in the left-back position here for Feldman.
I think you have to be very confident defending against Naassri as well. You can see what he's trying to do in the final third. It's just that one turn that if it beats the man, he's going to have that shot on goal. So you need to be prepared to dive in and make that challenge. Because if you step off him, if you give him that little bit of room, it looks like Naassri is going to punish you for that. So that's something that Feldman's going to have to stay well aware of.
Sandra then finds Mbappe. Also have Feldman just taking his time in his build-up. We are going to learn a little bit about how these two players are adapting to FIFA 19. Haven't seen too much of them in the latter stages of tournaments so far this year. Just like Feldman, he's going to play that possession-based game, take his time, look for that opportunity to strike, and here is Neymar now, progressing towards goal. Takes that shot early on, and De Gea is forced into a save there. Almost surprised me, to be honest with you, to see that shot taken from distance, but does force the corner.
Which patch are we on? It caught me off guard, but I tell you what, it almost snuck in there. And sometimes these players, they will still try them. We've seen a couple who know that if you try, I don't know, 30 finesse shots from outside the box, one of them is going to go on target. It wasn't nerfed into the ground so much that it's impossible to score shots like that. So why not have a pop every now and then?
Here is Webb Naassri then. Oh, that's a beautiful heel-to-heel, a great pass as well. Mbappe's got it back. The only thing that was lacking there from what would have been a fantastic little give and go between the two front men was that finish. But the heel-to-heel absolutely sold Feldman there.
Yeah, Naassri looks really confident when he's in the box, and I think Feldman will be pretty scared of that factor. And once you've already implemented that little bit of fear into your opponent's mind, you know you've got one over them.
Mbappe then, the man who just missed that big chance there for Naassri. Gets the fullback involved here. Good tackle though from Neymar. Now we'll see if Feldman has it in his locker to counter-attack. Looks like he's going to, again, just take his time.
Yeah, he doesn't really seem to be going for the counter-attack. He just seems to be more than happy working his ball up the pitch, and maybe he is affected by that first goal because this is the game plan that he's tried to approach it with, playing it slow and hoping to make some space, but Naassri is not allowing him to get out of his own half.
Oh, and there's a mistake there. It's R9 who makes the interception. Naassri looking to get inside the box, trying to force his way past the two defenders. Another little rush clearance here. It's going to fall to Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo inside the box with the Cruyff turn.
That's a free kick.
It will be pulled back for a free kick, though. Just as Webb Naassri maybe was looking for that ball to break to him inside the box. Now he has the chance from the set piece. Players stand over the ball. Neymar makes the run. Ronaldo makes a run. Hull it into Ronaldo. Well defended here by Feldman, and that is going to be the flag going up there, I believe, for offside.
Unfortunate for Naassri. You saw what he was trying to do, just play that ball for Ronaldo, making the run off the free kick over the ball. And it does work. If your opponent isn't on the ball, if they're not watching carefully and not defending it, you can get away with that sometimes and create a phenomenal chance from it. But good stuff from Feldman to be well aware of what Naassri was trying to attempt.
So they're approaching the last 5 minutes or so of this first half of the first leg in our PlayStation 4 semi-final. Has Feldman got an attack in him? Because he hasn't really shown too much going forward. You can see what he's trying to do in the patterns of play he's trying to execute, Dan, but hasn't really had too much to write home about so far.
It's because Naassri's not let him do it. The amount of pressure that Naassri's putting on is really good right now.
He's trying to put pressure on himself here. Maldini has to cut out that cross Does it pretty comfortably, and maybe this is the chance for him to go forward.
But look at how Nnasery is switching every single time from a player. He is swarming towards Feldman. He's not giving him any space, which means Feldman has to constantly play these quick passes. And if he doesn't predict the pass correctly every single time, Nnasery's there. He's waiting, just biting at his heels. It's good to see, but maybe Feldman's going to have to adapt here.
Here's Neymar finding R9. Neymar will actually pick the ball up here for Feldman as we are into stoppage time now. At the end of the first half, Sandro waiting for that run of Mbappe. Feldman brings him short instead. Now he does use the Frenchman. Neymar, a little bit of a chance opening up here, but again, a slightly rushed pass there in the final third. He's going to give possession back to Nnasery here, and I think that is going to be it for the end of our first half here. Web Nnasery will take a 1-goal lead into the break.
And a deserved 1-goal lead as well. Even though Feldman has had his fair share of possession, and a lot of it was in his own half, Nnasery has kept him firmly at bay, pressuring at the right times and not being afraid to dive in with those tackles as well. It is a mix of a 4-2-3-1 for both players, so the formations do kind of counteract one another's. And maybe that's going to have to be a formation change for Feldman, just to really give him that little bit of a boost that he needs going forward, because he hasn't created chances, Mark. He hasn't had shots on goal, really, that looked threatening whatsoever.
I'd agree with you. I think Nnasery has bossed the first half. However, I always think the first leg of a huge game like this, like a semi-final,
you ease
on your
yourself
console is, exactly, you're not going to want to make too big changes, because the difference between a 1-goal lead and a 2-goal lead, going into that second leg, that is a really big change, and that is a real big difference when you are into the last couple of games of a tournament where you are so close to a console final, so close to a console final win.
You don't want to take risks, that's the problem. If you take a risk that you feel like is not natural to the game you want to play, and then you give away a goal, you're going to feel hard done by, and you're going to beat yourself up about it. So you play a very calm and defensive approach for the early stages, and then when you have to take the risks, that's when you start taking them. But some of the better players in FIFA will be more prepared to take risks because they're used to being in these scenarios. However, these players are not used to being in a situation like this in FIFA 19 anyway.
Well, here's Feldman, does take that shot early there with CR7. Again, not afraid to have a pop from distance. We do know that those shots can fly in with these Team of the Year foot items, with these icons. Incredible statistics, and one man who's got all the pace to burn in the world is Mbappe. It falls back to R9. Mbappe with the pace to get in behind. A little bit of fortune on the side here of Web Nnasery as the ball falls back to Ronaldo. But the Brazilian from that distance with an open net, he's not going to make any mistakes.
It was a good spot though on the left-hand side. Just tapping that L1 button twice to generate the run from Mbappe, and then playing the perfect through ball to beat the right back. And yeah, as you said, the deflection's somewhat fortunate, but he got into that situation, and fortune favours the brave sometimes, as now Nnasery takes a 2-goal lead here. And Feldman really does have to find a different level here and find something else to try and break down Nnasery.
Long time to go there, approaching the hour mark at the end of our first leg. We always talk about the best players in the world and how they're able to adapt quickly to the play style of their opponents, to the way that their opponents pass the ball around, to the patterns that they look for, and CR7's back doing some defensive work here for Nnasery. And looking back at FIFA 18, when I said he had that standout performance, kind of announced himself to the competitive scene. He was known for his attacking play. Defensively, he wasn't great, but he really looks to have added to his game here in FIFA 19.
And I think you can see that his defence hasn't been amazing across the tournament just by the amount of goals he's conceded, but if you look at some of the results he's had, he beat Lost in the Waves 8-2. I mean, to only concede 2 goals against Lost in the Waves, who is arguably one of the better attackers around, I think that's pretty impressive.
Well, here's Hullet, and there's going to be a first-time shot from Kylian Mbappe. David De Gea gets across to turn it behind for a corner on the hour mark then. Corner here for Feldman. Can he find a way back into this? Cristiano Ronaldo challenging at the back post. Vieira now. All of a sudden, Feldman's kind of bursting into life here. Neymar. Vieira tries to find the ball back into Ronaldo. Web Nnasery's holding firm here in defence, but there might be an opportunity here. Mbappe to Neymar. Just didn't hit the finish as accurately as necessary to beat David De Gea there. But for the first time, really, Dan, a little bit of pressure coming in from Feldman.
He's getting the pressure and he's getting the ball in the right places. It's just that final pass that he's trying to that he needs to try and achieve, to be honest. He's taking pop shots from distances that maybe are somewhat unrealistic. And I feel like if he instead took that risk on a pass, instead, he might be rewarded.
Free kick here then to Webb Nnasery. Second half has very much been in the hands of Feldman, to be honest with you. A real change from the first half, but Nnasery whips this into the box, and CR7 does get up and wins the header. Van der Sar makes a fairly comfortable save there. But another chance falling to Nnasery.
Can Feldman find anything going forward now, though? Because the problem for me with Feldman is he's more than happy to play this slow, methodical build-up, but he is wasting some of his own time, it would seem, at points. And he does need a bit more width, and shots like that, they're not doing anything.
It's the kind of, I'm running out of ideas a little bit here. And I'm getting frustrated at the way that Nnasery is defending. He's defending very deep at the moment. He's kind of being restricted to those long shots, and they haven't been effective. Nnasery with those bodies behind the ball has kind of been able to negate that threat. So it's going to be up to Feldman maybe to work the ball a little bit quicker in and around the box. Neymar now with the El Tornado, with the volley. Again though, De Gea just comfortably behind it.
And that was a subtle bit of goalkeeper movement from Nnasery as well. It wasn't very much, but it was enough just to plant De Gea's feet in the right place so that it was a very comfortable catch and he didn't have to stretch for it. So good stuff from Nnasery, from recognising that style of play there from Feldman, who, as you quite rightly said, just seems to be trying everything here, but maybe running out of ideas.
I mean, look, 10 players behind the ball here for Nnasery. It's so difficult to break down. You have to be so precise. And you have to try and pull one player out of position here. One of those CDMs, you have to try and commit. It has to be a skill move. It has to be something magic here. And there's a little pass, but again, just snatches at the shot when that opportunity presented itself.
And I can understand you try and hit that first time because first time low driven is so powerful, but he's just slightly mistimed it. And if he had been able to find shots like that constantly throughout the game, then maybe he's going to be a little bit more warmed up. But because he's been taking those shots from long range, maybe he's not quite ready for that situation to present itself.
Well, here's Webb Nnasery then, with his chance to attack here. Just a few minutes left in game here for him to see out what would be a fantastic first leg result for him. Keeping a clean sheet at this stage in the tournament, so difficult to do with the caliber of player that we have left in the tournament. You can see Feldman trying to pressure Nnasery here, but it will be a throw in to Nnasery. And that's more seconds just being ticked off of the clock as we get towards full time at the end of our first leg. Is there going to be one more chance, though, for Webb Nnasery to extend this lead, to find a third goal? Hullet finds his midfield partner, Vieira. Neymar now just twisting and turning, maybe looking for the chance to strike it. Slightly heavy touch, though. It's going to allow Vieira to step in.
And we've seen situations like this several times before where a player had the chance just to close the game out, playing the ball around, keeping possession, but Nnasery pressed on, he looked for a third, and he did give possession back to Feldman. But the ball was out of play, and I think maybe even in favour of Nnasery, but it allows Feldman to finally get that pause, to finally change a couple of player personnel and maybe some tactics as well, just to see if he can sneak something in this first leg. But realistically, Feldman hasn't looked like a player who's scored 29 goals in, 5 games so far in the tournament? He's looked restricted, but I think that's more down to how Nnasery has contained him rather than his lack of ability.
Is there going to be time for these subs to have an impact on this game here for Feldman? Not if he gives the ball away like that. Ronaldo now is just going to run the clock down once more, running into that space. And there is the final whistle at the end of the first leg. Webb Nnasery with a convincing 2-0 victory in the first leg. And questions to be asked now of Feldman. Not used to being in this stage of the tournament. What's he got in the locker as far as making a comeback in the second leg's concerned?
I think he'll probably be asking himself those same questions of, well, why aren't I finding the opportunities on goal that I've been finding throughout this tournament? What am I doing wrong? What is Nnasery doing right? And I think it's just the pressure that Nnasery is applying in every single aspect and every area of the pitch. He's not just pressuring it the right moments in the back, but when he notices slight possibilities in the final third as well, he's still pressuring. You saw him winning the ball back in dangerous areas, and that's what's important.
I think one thing that Feldman's kind of not helped himself with in certain situations as well is he's sort of been very patient in his build-up, and when he has got into those situations where he's had the opportunity to strike a goal, because it's taken him so long to get into that position, I think he's kind of snatching at those chances. Maybe there is an extra pass on. You look at a player like Dax, it's not always the most obvious thing to do when you have a clear shot on goal to look for an even better chance, but Feldman has got in those positions, and I think maybe his decision-making in that final third hasn't quite been as good as it's needed to be.
I mean, however, he's got this far and he has scored a lot of goals in the tournament. So it makes me think that maybe some of these long pop shots he's been taking previously have been going in, shots like that. Maybe they've been going in. And maybe it's because he's been going up against players who haven't maybe moved their keeper correctly, etc. Or he hasn't been timing it as well in these games.
You can see there for Filza, straight on social media. What's going on, buddy? How's life treating you? Hopefully it's treating you well, and thank you to everyone who's come along today as well, and everyone that's watching at home as well. I think this is set up nicely, though, for this second half, because it's going to force a change here from Feldman. He has to come out and be the aggressor in our second half here. He can't afford to kind of play a slower pattern of play. He needs to get the ball up the pitch as quickly as possible. But it's kind of that balancing act. If you give away a goal here at the start of the game, like we saw in that first leg, 3 goals to chase down is such a difficult thing to do, especially with the way that Webb Nasri has been defending.
And I thought he would be the one who was playing the aggressor in this game. I mean, yes, okay, he's not as experienced as Webb Nasri, and he is definitely the underdog in terms of seeding and global series rankings, etc. But his score lines would suggest that maybe he was going to take it to Nasri. And it does Feldman look like the kind of player that beat Nicholas 6-1 yesterday? I mean, no, is the real answer. He hasn't done enough to warrant that for me. However, you know, second leg, something new might happen. Maybe he's got another tactic up his sleeve, or maybe it's just a simple change of how he approaches the game. Maybe he's just going to be playing more passes. Maybe it will be that extra pass that he looks for rather than those shots. He's got this far, so I know he has something else to give.
I'm looking down on the main stage at the moment at the two players. They could not be sat further apart, pretty much. They're both on completely opposite sides of the stage here on the Gfinity Arena. Webb Nasri's just sat on his own. I feel kind of sorry for him, to be honest, but not too sorry for him, because he is taking a 2-0 lead into
this
second leg. And there's an Edmund keeping an eye on him, making sure everything's all right for him. But here we go, second leg underway then. As you can see, the aggregate score in the top left-hand side of your screen. Webb Nasri, he's going to be starting this one off. The first attack of the game will be going to him. There's a little bit of space here. Ruud Gullit trying to croquette through the middle of 2 players. Mbappe's going to give it back. It's a great move, but that's a fantastic tackle from Maldini. And now an early goal here would be a real statement from Feldman.
And we've seen so many 2-goal differences across the last few tournaments turn around so quickly because of an early goal, or even like an early-ish goal. And I think Nasri will be well aware of that, and I think most of these players are aware now a 2-goal cushion isn't as safe as you might think. For example, in real football, maybe a 2-goal cushion feels a little bit safer than it does in FIFA. So perhaps we will see Webb Nasri continue to press on, look for that third, because 3 goals seems to be the true cushion that they look for.
I mean, there is that footballing cliche, the difficult 2-goal lead, and it seems to be more apparent in FIFA, to be honest with you, because we see so many 2-goal leads just sort of thrown away when a player gets a goal going his way, and suddenly he picks up some momentum and shows a little bit of confidence as his opponent's heads drop. But the free kick here will be to Webb Nasri on the left-hand side. We saw him win the header last time with Cristiano Ronaldo. Wouldn't be too surprised to see him once again look for that. Ronaldo's there, but Ramos gets across, and that'll be comfortably defended.
Those are really difficult free kicks to take as well. You don't really know what you want to do with. You don't often get those situations, so it's hard to practice as well. However, some players are a little bit more creative, and they might try and dink it to the back post and then head that down to a player who's waiting on the penalty spot. Unfortunately, that was just a little bit of nothing, and just a little bit of hit and hope, I feel.
Well, here's Neymar then for Feldman. A great tackle, again coming in from Virgil van Dijk, but he gets the ball back. Chance to strike it! There's the goal! He burst into life now, 12 minutes on the clock. And Feldman has half the deficit now. That's what he needed, that little bit of belief here at the start of the second leg.
And those are the goals he's been looking for as well, that first-time shot with Mbappe. However, he hasn't been able to find that positional advantage throughout the first leg. Finally, Mbappe makes the run that he's been hoping he was trying to do for the first leg. And he's rewarded with a decent time shot now. And this should open up this semi-final.
Also takes a little bit of the pressure off of Feldman here, because knowing it's only 1 goal, you only have to create 1 real chance now to tie up the game. Doesn't have to take as many risks as early as he might have previously.
And knowing he can actually score as well. I mean, his confidence must have been low with the amount of shots that he was taking from long distance and missing the green timed and hitting yellows. He's just nailed a green time shot, low driven. First time, he's going to be feeling, all right, okay, this is my game. I'm back on form again.
Sandra, and then a little bit of space on the left-hand side, and Mbappe. Back into Vieira. Again, we're playing with a very deep line here. 10 players behind the ball. Feldman having to show patience here. And he almost gets the ball into CR7. He'll get it back. He hits the El Tornado. But it's just pinched off of his toe. At the very tippity top of the skill move there by Virgil van Dijk. Wins it back though, Naassri. Giving it away here to Feldman. Pull it now. Look at the space here for R9. He takes it early. He hit it green. He hit it low. But David De Gea was more than equal to that.
And Feldman's starting to look more like the player who deserves to be in a semi-final now. Generating a little bit more pressure onto Naassri, and I don't know whether that's because Naassri has done the age-old thing of, with a 2-0 lead, has just sat back and defended and put everyone behind the ball and hoped he could just grind it out, or whether Feldman has just switched things up here a little bit. You can see Naassri still trying to favour that left-hand side, wants to make that run with Mbappe to try and get behind those fullbacks.
Here's Neymar then, there's a bit of space here for Vieira, and it's round the corner here, the scoop turn first time. Good defending though. Alexandre was the man here, was pressuring Cristiano Ronaldo as he was looking for that shot after the scoop turn.
And I do like Alexandre at left back. His strength,
so solid.
He's just very strong and he can push off some of the strikers. Okay, yeah, he doesn't have the aerial ability that you might see of some of the defending players that we see introduced to the game. However, it's his other strengths and his other abilities that is why he's in the side.
Well, it's going to be the left back here for Naassri. He's going to have to do some defending. Neymar looking to cause some problems, looking to cause some mischief. Vieira now, that's a great little ball, and all of a sudden this game is looking to change. And Mbappe doesn't strike it first time. Looking to mix things up. De Gea has to make a reaction save as the ball flew through a crowd of bodies there. Wins the corner. Whipped in towards the back post. Hullit's going to get up. Mbappe will win the header though, but the pressure's still here for Feldman. Vieira. Big tackle coming in from R9. He's a big old unit, and he won the battle with Neymar there.
And even when Naassri does win the ball off that corner, I mean, there's just nothing being offered up front. He's having to play the slow game now because he put so many players behind the ball. He has to wait for some of them to join the attack. And he just isn't able to find the passes he was finding last game.
Pressure though from Feldman. This means the little change that he's made. He's been more aggressive in his ability to win the ball back, and now he's forcing save after save here from David De Gea. Naassri's under the cosh here as we enter the last 10 minutes of the first half. Towering clearance though from the corner.
But it's cleared to no one. That's the issue.
Ronaldo goes for the El Tornado and the volley. Little drag back here. CR7. More dangerous here. Hullit's going to strike it.
I mean, at the moment, it kind of looks like we're in the final 5 minutes of the second leg, and Naassri's defending for his life, and he's not really been able to play the game he wants to play. So you can see he really, really wants to slow this down and try and keep possession and keep Feldman off of the ball for a little bit. Try and demoralize his opponent ever so slightly, but Feldman is full of momentum. You can feel it in his gameplay.
Such a dangerous game to try and protect a lead with 90 minutes left in game in a second leg. As I say, only takes one goal, and all of a sudden, those horrible doubts start creeping in, and you think about, don't throw this one away. You're so close to a console final. But maybe a goal here would change that again. Neymar is inside the box. The scoop turn's going to buy him space. The croquette is beautiful. But Van der Sar comes up with a big save here for Feldman. Corner to follow up then. On the stroke of half-time. Whipped in towards that back post. Hullit versus Ronaldo. Van Dijk's there. That'll be comfortable for Van der Sar. And we question that inclusion, but Van der Sar again showing why he is favoured by some of these pros.
Just a big body, isn't he? And he can just get in the way of that ball. And that was a chance for Naassri to go 3-1 up. And you saw the expression of Feldman in the bottom right-hand corner of your screens as well, as he just was breathing a sigh of relief, as he knows that one more goal could just be too much for him to get back with the way that this game's been going and how well Naassri has been defending in certain areas. It's going to be very difficult to break through that wall.
Yeah, and I think that Feldman's going to be pretty disappointed with the referee decided to blow the whistle there, because it looked like Neymar was in a great position to maybe bring that ball down and have a strike on goal just before half-time. But it is one goal now, the difference between these two players on the main stage in our PlayStation 4 semi-final. That early goal, we talk about it so much, but it really has changed the complexion of this tie now, Dan. Do you want to see something different from Webb Nnasery here? Because he has been struggling a little bit in that first half.
That's the main issue with having a lead, and having a 2-goal lead is you don't want to change anything because you're like, well, it's been working so far, why would I change? But it's about reacting to how your opponent is reacting to you. It's the counter-reaction, which is often the most difficult thing to do in FIFA. And you just want to stay with what's comfortable for you. That's what I think we're seeing Nnasery try and approach here. Is he's just defending for his life, and then he's trying to keep ball, play possession, starve Feldman of that possession, then naturally he should win the game because of that. But it's much simpler said than done.
It's very, very risky.
And only one of these players have actually won a game or even lost a game by just 1 goal mark in this tournament, and that was Nnasery. He beat Mulzen 2-1 in Swiss.
Well, he's looking to add a third here to the aggregate score. Mbappe in a bit of space again, choosing the safer option here. He's playing a very low mistake-based game at the moment. Doesn't want to give his opponent a sniff here as Vieira comes forward, Hullet with the ball roll. And this is where Feldman's got to concentrate as well, because he knows if he makes one more mistake, then this could be the game over for him. Vieira now into CR7. Look at the run from Mbappe. Oh, he went for the extra pass there. I like the idea. Just didn't come off, though.
He does just need one of those like little risky passes to come off to really break through and maybe even give Webb Nnasery confidence, because he doesn't look like he's confident in his own play style at the moment. He's definitely on the back foot here.
56 minutes on the clock, and oh my. A snapshot there from R9. Just goes wide of the post.
Not quite timed green again. And I feel like, judging by the reactions of Feldman, he knows that he could have had 2-3 goals in this game if he had hit a couple more green time shots. So Nnasery needs to be a little bit careful sometimes at the back here and really try and eat away at as much time as possible and try and prevent Feldman from getting these chances.
Next goal, so vital in this game. I know it sounds obvious, but it really will be a massive factor in how this tie ends up and who ends up in our PlayStation 4 Grand Final. If Nnasery scores, you feel that's pretty much game over. If Feldman can tie it up, though, you feel that momentum is fully with him. As we see Nnasery again being very, very patient in his build-up play. Trying to minimize the amount of attacks that his opponent will have here in the rest of the game by keeping possession, but that's just going to run out of play. Now it will be possession back to Feldman.
And we have seen across the season several times players who are slightly lower in the Global Series ranking points have these standout tournaments. Tuga is a name that screams out for me as well when he came and surprised everyone with what he achieved. And maybe Feldman is hoping to do the same here, but having to come from behind with only 23 minutes left now in game, I wonder whether he's running out of ideas. Or maybe he can generate something special for a special moment.
Neymar's desperately trying to keep this ball in. He will just beat it to that byline. Sandro now. To Mbappe, space here for Hullet. Neymar might use Vieira, does use Vieira. R9, look how many players are still behind the ball here. 10 players behind the ball. He's got to try and break them down, but Nnasery again, strength in numbers in defense. And now, more seconds off the clock.
To be fair, I mean, Feldman has been doing the same. He's had 10 men behind the ball as well when Nnasery's been attacking. Very much been sitting back and trying to absorb that pressure. So maybe he needs to change something soon.
Yeah, the one thing I haven't seen so far is a pause being cued here by Feldman. He's got to think about, is there enough time left in the game here to make a change? Maybe we'll have the opportunity here, but sticking with the 4-2-3-1, I believe, unless he's got some dynamic tactics set up in game.
No, it does still look like the 4-2-3-1 from just looking at the radar and looking where the players are, but there are some good runs being made.
Here is one of those good runs from Mbappe. Just takes one chance to tie this up. Takes that shot from distance, and again, a speculative strike there, not time green again. And De Gea will just happily watch that go past the post all day.
The thing is, he's tried that quite a few times, so I feel like it must have been working at some point during this tournament. You wouldn't keep trying it if it didn't work.
Wins the ball back, though, from the goal kick. Has another chance to come forward. Neymar into Ronaldo. Good block there from Maldini, though, just as that prime icon moments. Foot item was looking to unleash with his left foot. And this is the danger now. Towards the end of the game, you have to commit more players forward. You have to try and win that ball back. It is going to leave spaces at the back, and here comes Vieira. Look at the space here for Cristiano Ronaldo. Gets past his man with the croqueta, looks for another one, looks for the pass inside. Maldini stands strong.
And we haven't seen enough of that in this second leg from Naassri. He was looking so confident in the first leg when he got into the box with his skill moves, by beating a man, by taking that extra touch. Whereas he hasn't really demonstrated the same level of confidence in this second leg. However, he has done enough to keep the lead, and that is all that matters. If he manages to grind out the result, he won't mind in which manner it was done.
Here's Mbappe then for Feldman. Needs a goal pretty much now. 6 minutes left in the game. Neymar gets it onto that left foot, but a crunching tackle from Ruud Gullit is going to win the ball back for him. And now look at Cristiano Ronaldo hurling down the right-hand side into space. Alexandro does a good job of holding him up here for Feldman. Ferdinand comes across, he gets possession back, he has another chance to go forward here.
Yeah, it's one of those weird scenarios where you really want to give them space so you can just try and encourage them to go towards goal, so you get that chance to win the ball back, and that's exactly what Feldman did, and he has now one last chance, surely, going forward. Needs to make something count here.
Needs to make this count, as you say, Dan. Needs to create something, and needs to finish off the chance as well. R9 into Cristiano Ronaldo, turns back. Mbappe, players flying forward, he gets a little bit lucky here, he tries to find the pass, he doesn't find the pass, and that might be it here for our PlayStation 4 semi-final. It is, the referee blows the whistle, and Web Naassri will find his way into the PlayStation 4 final.
His first PlayStation 4 final of the season as well. Commiserations, of course, to Feldman. He still secures 315 Global Series ranking points, though. It puts him up into contention for playoffs, so we may see his name again. But it's all about Web Naassri. He held on. It wasn't pretty, but he got the job done.